Label Legends. Scout for fresh musical talents and negotiate blockbuster deals to make your mark as a label executive. How do you go about becoming the label legend? Collect the most fans, of course. Use hype tokens equal to the number of the players starting from 1 and up. Place the hype tokens you're using in the middle and return the rest to the box. So if there are 3 players, use hype tokens 1, 2, and 3. Each player takes a speaker. Put the remaining ones in the box. Depending on the player count, remove a certain number of musician cards from each color. Decide whether to use Uwe Rosenberg card in this game. Uwe Rosenberg is a joker card in this game. If you choose not to use it, put him back in the box. Pick a starting player and then take the starting player card. Shuffle the musician cards. Each player takes a card and places face down on the left side of their speaker. Do not look at the front of the card you just got. Then the starting player deals 6 cards to each player, including himself. Place the leftover musician cards as a face-down deck in the middle. Now we're ready to get on with the show. You place the fans you collected here to the left of your speaker. The one with the most fans wins the game. To the right of the speaker is a band area. You sort the musician cards by color here. When you have 4 of the same color, they will form a band and get some fans. If there are a lot of different colors in your band area, you will get fewer fans. You will get more fans by having just 1 color in your band area. Above the speaker is a waiting room, where the musical hopefuls await their fates. You can take back any musician cards here later, or one of your rivals can claim them for themselves. But they have to give you 1 fan card to take cards from your waiting room. So even a musician that's not a good fit for your label can still win you some fans. Phase 1. The waiting room. Beginning with the starting player, players put down any cards they don't want in their waiting room. If you don't have any cards in your waiting room, you have to put at least some cards down. So in the first round, you have to put at least 1 card in your waiting room. If you have 1 or more cards in your waiting room, you don't have to add any more cards. Uwe Rosenberg card is a joker that can be any color, but he can't be used by himself. He must always be paired with another card and will count as the paired card's color. Phase 2. The signing. Once Phase 1 is over, it's time to sign some bands. Players take turns placing a card from their hand into their band area, beginning with the starting player. You can instead take the hype token with the lowest number on the table to sit this phase out. You skip your turns in this phase once you have taken a token. The remaining players can still play cards into their band areas. Collect musicians of the same color to make a band. Uwe Rosenberg can join any band, but he can't be the first card in the band area. If you have 4 musician cards of the same color in your band area, they form a band and you get some fans. If you had only 1 group in your band area, you flip all 4 cards in the band face down into fans cards and place them on the left of the speakers. If you had 2 groups, you get 3 fans cards. If you had 3 groups, you get 2 fans. If you had 4 or more groups, you only get 1. Return any unconverted musician cards from the band on top of the deck face down. Once everyone has taken a hype token, the game moves on to the next phase. Phase 3. The callback. Players take a turn each in the order of their hype tokens, starting from 1. On your turn, pick a waiting room and take all the cards from the room, then place them in your band area. There's no cost if you're taking cards from your own waiting room, but if you want to take cards from another player's waiting room, you have to give them 1 of your fans cards. If you don't have any fans, you can only take cards from your waiting room. You can still form bands and win fans during this phase if you collected 4 cards of the same color. But a band can only ever have 4 cards. If you have 5 cards of the same color, there will be 1 band of 4 cards and another potential band of 1. If you signed 2 bands at the same time, you calculate the fans gained 1 band at a time. On your turn, if your waiting room is empty and you don't want any cards from any other waiting rooms, you can choose to close this phase early for everyone. Note that your waiting room must be empty for you to close the phase early. Once everyone has taken a turn, or when someone closes this phase early, the game moves on to the next phase. Phase 4. New Casting Call. Return your hype tokens to the middle. If phase 3 was closed early by someone, that player becomes the new starting player. If everyone has taken a turn in the last phase, the starting player remains the same. The starting player shuffles the deck, and don't forget to do this, and deal 6 cards to each player. Then the next round begins from phase 1 again. The game ends when you can't fill everyone's hand back to 6 at the end of the round. The player with the most fans wins. If it's a tie, the one with the fewest cards in their waiting room and bend area combined is the winner.